Yeah, even that's pro tem, so it's different. I don't know about assistant here. But pro tem had to be every single time the board had to.
Oh, I didn't know that. So we just went through that. Well, guys, think about it. There's positions open.
17 years.
I know
3
Mark's
years.
jumping at the bit.
That's what it is. 17 years, 3 months.
Wow, that'd be
Incredible.
neat.
I know. That's nice. I'm on your heels, Mark. Coming for you.
You can have it.
As soon
You
as,
have to resign.
I'm not going to resign.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither. Me neither.
as soon as Mike gets back, we start the meeting, okay? So we don't have him coming in the meeting.
I do. How do you sit through a whole meeting in these?
I fall asleep more. My legs fall asleep because I can't touch.
Yeah, that's how I have to lean back in order to get my feet. Like I feel like I don't know, I just feel weird.
And I felt bad because I bought them for the board, but it was always like.
You know what though, they build, look for chairs for offices, they build them for people that are like 5'9" and above. It's
Yeah.
nothing below, it's probably not good for
true.
6.
Yeah.
So.
There's one up here. You know there's one up here.
There is?
Yeah, plugs to you.
Oh.
So we don't have to crawl under this table.
I probably have.
Oh, really?
I probably have shrunk.
So thank you for
Yeah, what was that? So you
my
planning
neighbor,
on?
so my dear friend, who's actually on the community senior center task force or whatever. She asked me.
It does.
I can try to reach things now.
I know. Well, even after the kids. But yeah, no, it's a good thing that my husband's with me.
Haven't circled back yet, but
Bridget, they don't start the cameras and voice until we start the meeting. Do you start it?
I can go.
Where's
Actually,
Sam?
I think they're listening to us right now. So,
Okay.
Sam, Denisha.
As soon as Mike's here. How you doing, Mike? No, we haven't started yet that we're aware. I haven't called the meeting to order.
Good.
Did you see Sam?
I saw her
She was
today.
here earlier.
Yeah, but they didn't have the information. I don't think people are relieved.
Did you file the director's
Water
report?
in the car, if you know if we
So
have
we
any
could,
problems.
She asked me,
I kind of
and I
like
said, because I've been putting them on here,
That's
Yeah.
me.
I mean, I like together like a memo, so then I figured she could just take notes.
No, I'm fine with that, but do we have to put him on file and make a motion like we do for community?
I think so.
Okay, just double check. I was going through that.
they had to go back
It would just be part of it.
negotiate all the moves.
So it's ready when you are. She said.
Okay, as soon as Mike sits down, we will be ready then.
Right, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
I thought
Bill sent Mike.
Mute it.
No.
Push a button somewhere.
You can push the button to mute, but
We're buying
it's
this
temporary.
property. So that.
Okay, but it goes,
Oh, you have to hold
Yeah, you have
it'll be red or green when it's
But we
muted.
would
we
red.
it. You have to hold it.
Got it.
Mike. He said there'll be a MSU student coming to watch the meeting, so you have to like write up about this. So if you see a random person in here, that's fine. Yeah, we're good to go whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
I just knew that there was still more.
Okay, all right, Bridget, we'll start. I'll say with that, I will call the Meridian Township Park Commission meeting of October 8th, 2024 to order at 4:33. And if you could mute your phones. You guys have to remember to do that.
Just gonna shut that.
And then we move on. Roll call, Commissioner Stevens,
I'm here.
Mr. Lick,
Here.
Mr. McDonald,
Here.
Chair Ferris is here, Commissioner Van Antwerp is absent and excused. With that, do we have any public comment at this time? I see no one in the public chair, so we will not have it at this point. Do we have any changes or corrections requested to the agenda?
Nope, no, I did not.
Okay,
I don't.
with that, do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
A motion to accept?
Second?
I'll support.
All in favor, yes?
Yes.
All opposed, no. Unanimously, that passes. Before we jump into minutes, though, I have a quick thing. It is my understanding that Commissioner Stevens is our longest-serving, currently serving elected official in the township.
In the township, wow.
And so with
Thank
that,
you.
we would like to thank you for your service.
Wow.
A little bump cake. You do not need to share it with
Gonna
everyone.
hand it off.
They're very good.
That is so nice.
So truly, thank you.
I thought maybe we'd get you an orange traffic cone.
Oh, that would be good too.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
I'm honored to serve on this park commission. with you
We're
guys.
grateful
It's
to
a-
have
It's an
you.
enjoyment and, I like to do it. And I think our township is great with our parks and I want to keep that going and be part of it, so
Obviously, you're a big part of that.
thank you. Thank you, it's fun.
That was a quick departure. Thank you, everyone. With that, do we have any changes or corrections to the minutes of our September meeting?
No.
I have one small one. It looked like it was listed from our prior meeting that Commissioner Van Antwerp closed the meeting, but I don't think that was correct.
Oh, because she wasn't.
I was not there at August meeting to close it. I think it was a carry forward.
Got it.
Oh,
I think
gotcha.
that was something minor, but it does go for public record. So that was the only thing I had. Anything else from anyone?
No.
No.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I move.
Second? All those in favor of approving the minutes of September's meeting, say yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed, no. Unanimous, that passes.
I'm very excited about our new trail maps, partly because they're so bike user friendly.
Okay. Director Wazinski, would you like to move into communications item, please?
Sure, I would like to say thank you to Mary and commissioners for my birthday gifts. I also got a bundt cake, so
Yes.
I got
This
enough
place
to
is
share
great.
too.
This place is great, I love it.
So thank you, it was very sweet.
I think if you buy 10, you
No
get
pun
one free.
intended.
So Mary might be almost getting a free one. So.
She's got a punch card. They do have punch cards. Okay, so we can look at October stewardship calendar. So, seasons are changing and they are pivoting accordingly, but still have their stewardship Saturdays, their weekday warriors every other Thursday. And then they've added this month, the Fantastic Fungi Walk. So Emma Campbell, our stewardship coordinator, has an expert that's an expert on fungi, and they walk through the woods. So that'll be fun. Where's
Here's
that?
a fun guy.
Lake Park. What's that?
I hear he's a fun guy.
Hilarious. Can you get that in the notes? As the season progresses, they're doing a lot of seed collecting, and it's pretty fun to watch. Them come in with just trays full of seeds and dead stuff, and then they have, I think I've mentioned this before, but I think it's fantastic. Emma has nearly 300 volunteers for Meridian Conservation Corps, and many of those are very active, I would guess anywhere up to 50. But there's some folks that really like preservation and stewardship, however, they might not physically be able to enter the woods and, cut down trees. So one of the great activities that she saves for folks that might want to help is seed sorting. So it's in the service center. Everybody sits at the big tables, but you can participate and not necessarily need to be agile and run with a chainsaw.
That's so cool.
So
That's
that'll be
great.
coming up. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So they'll stratify them and all of that stuff, they'll put them in the freezer and all that,
Yep,
and get them
and she's-
started in the new greenhouses and everything, and.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
She's got she's got a refrigerator, freezer, and then the greenhouse. They will plant what they can this winter too. So,
Very nice.
Very cool.
It's a great team. So they are moving forward. Any questions on stewardship? Nope. Moving on to Snell Tower. So we are currently open still Tuesday, Thursday after school. With a couple, you can see at the end of the month, a couple Halloween parties. One being at the marketplace, so that's our Halloween event for township-wide. But then on actual Halloween, we open up the rec center, and then folks can come in, and it's usually the tweens to teens that like to hang out there and come in and play games and get candy and snacks. So I understood that to work really well last year. And then another puzzle competition backed by demand. Yes.
I have a quick question. So I noticed that we do, I don't know why this is just now coming to my mind, but that we have the stewardship calendar and the Snell Tower calendar. I know sometimes like we'll cover Harris Nature Center in the director's report, but like, would it be valuable to have the Harris Nature Center calendar as well? Or, I'm just wondering if that would,
They do it, they have it anyway, so we can certainly
Yeah.
include it in the packets. Yeah.
okay. Because I figure part of the sharing this with us is to get it out to the public too.
Cool,
So
yeah.
if we're gonna review it, it might be good to have it in.
I love that.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Is there a calendar like that for the village as well, historical village? Do they share that with you, or?
Yes, it's not in a same format, but,
You know who's coming and what's going
yeah,
on?
yeah, we put it into the playbook, which is the monthly
Okay.
online newsletter. But I can certainly make it in my director's notes to at least have updates on anything coming up.
Yeah.
Since their calendar would be a bit more sporadic,
Yeah.
but I could certainly ask her at a minimum update on the director's report. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be fun, sure.
Perfect.
It's a fun month. I can't believe we're part of the way into October already.
I'm not gonna have an excuse of give me 1 year, much longer. I do wanna make so anyways, we have a little extra at Snell. We'll keep it open Tuesdays, Thursdays throughout the winter, and see how that, at attendance stays, or if we need to modify accordingly. It's gonna get darker, however, from the way I understand it, it is more tweens and teens. So it's not necessarily little kiddos that have to walk home in dark.
Do they open the center for the games? Is that why do they have like Lions watching parties or something? Is that why the Lions are on here?
I think this is because Nick put this together, and he is
Big
a
time sports guy.
Detroit fan.
But I didn't know if they,
Oh, that's a really good point.
yeah, I wonder if they, because not everybody has cable or whatever.
Or it's more fun to watch.
Or
with
might
other
fun,
people.
it'd be
I
fun
like
to
it.
watch with everybody, yeah.
Well, it's also nice to know the Tigers are gonna win in 4 rather than go to 5 games.
There's
And
that.
I am going to the game tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
A friend of mine
tickets.
friend of mine is taking his dad or vice versa, and then, one of our sponsors there, Tropical Smoothie, that guy's taking his dad, and it ain't cheap, but it's cool.
Nothing is these days.
And it's cool. So, just a thought, because you've got some very innovative folks there. I'm not sure I've asked, but I know the laundry there at the corner would be happy to, take some tape and put this in their window. If that might fly with you and Nick, they'd be happy to. And probably those other businesses in that group, except maybe the eye doctor. But regardless, there are a lot of teens and tweens come to the laundry, for example. And do you have any, do you think that's okay or not okay?
I would think it's 100% okay, and I do know that Nick and Alex have posted, like in Groovy Donuts, so I'll
Well,
make sure.
Ruby Donuts is one, and they
Yeah.
probably have better,
And they may-
better donuts than the eye store, eye doctor.
They might buy them from Groovy, so you never know. But yeah, I'll make sure that they look at some of those
So,
other businesses.
I don't know the answer to this, I think I do. If the teen is from East Lansing or Lansing, are they welcome there too?
Yes.
Yes. I know they're excited at, again, the laundry to have the center be more vital than it was. They've observed that.
Yeah, good.
Do they have a good relationship with Groovy Donuts? Monica's she's a friend of mine. She got her degree from Fisheries and Wildlife, and so she wants to give back to Fisheries and Wildlife.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I don't know if they've contacted her about doing something special with the center, or, you know, just to get their name out too as well. I think they're doing pretty well there, but, you know.
Yeah, they sell out about every day. If you're not there,
Right,
they
right.
sell out. And they're very nice to the customers.
Oh, they're great people, yeah. They did a fundraiser last year with a few different organizations. It was a Wednesday, it was a give back to community, and everything that they made that day, proceeds went to these 4 organizations. And one of
Nice.
them was Project Fish, which was really nice.
Yep.
So,
That's great. I do know that Nick and Alex both frequent Groovy Donuts. Not sure they know Monica, but we'll make that connection.
I know when I go buy an overpriced donut, I go there. I'm not going to
Use the
Dunkin'
gas
Donuts
too,
or Tim
right?
Hortons. And they
do
get
have good
charged
donuts.
$5, you know, for one.
Any other commissioner questions on the calendars?
Excellent. So here's my third attempt, I think, at the budget, and now I'm seeing how quickly or how small this turned out.
Landscape language.
Landscape, yeah, and I think I played with it too much, but I'm looking for input. I've already talked to Chair Ferris a little bit about what would be most beneficial and kind of what would be helpful for the commissioners to know what's going on and where are we within that budget. So as we talked about before, it can get very complex with different salaries and those types of line items that are really just kind of standard and operational. So I thought maybe the best route would be to move through what we could call projects. Park signs wouldn't necessarily be a project per se, but looking at those big chunks of where the funding is going per year, and then every month updating. So what I've done here is the description, for example, the top row there, Marshall Park, where's the source of funds for that particular play structure? Those came out of general funds. The board had appropriated $150,000, it actually cost us $168,000. And so what we did a budget amendment to cover those additional costs.
And sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
The budget amendment was also from the general fund? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then similarly,
that's nice.
does that make sense? Does that?
So they
Yeah.
didn't use park
Millage. funding,
village
correct,
dollars for
yeah.
that? Okay, that's great.
All for amenities coming up, coming soon. The second one there is the Red Cedar Water Trail Grant. So this one, as we all know, is kind of interim right now, but we're working through a lot of planning and in coordination with the other jurisdictions too. But that would be Ingham County Parks and Trails Grant. We were granted $500,000 with $50,000 of that match funding. And to date, we haven't spent any of that. We just submitted the signed grant agreement to Ingham County for that particular conditional grant. Of course, we're waiting for the 2026 park millage. I'm confident will be passed, but the Ingham County's 2026 millage before that funding can be appropriated to these grants.
So not until 28.
Correct.
Wow, that's interesting.
Which brings you down to the next one for the Red Cedar Water Trail. This is interim funding grant. This was a request from the multi-jurisdictional, so from Meridian Township, Williamstown Township, Williamston, City of Williamston, with support of 4 county commissioners to provide some interim funding from their budget, not a grant, just interim funding to help us continue to move forward. Given that 2028, by that time, who knows what the river, all the work that's went into clearing the river from Williamston all the way to Meridian, if we had no funding, then it could just,
Clogged up again.
it could, yeah, it could even turn into something based on the change in weather, something that could be unmanageable, so. The Park Commission did approve that, so we do have $100,000 coming between the three entities. And our next steps are to develop an assessment and a plan of how we distribute that based on needs. So that's really exciting, so. Second one, or third, fourth one there, the Launch Park kayak launch design. So some of the design has been done in-house, so there is no cost to that at this point. However, I've mentioned a couple times that working through the Red Cedar Water Trail project, I'm pausing on purchasing a launch until we can get that river clear to the launch park, because right now it's not. Yes.
So given the fact that the Red Cedar Water Trail grant is on hold and likely won't be allocated until FY '28, are we thinking that then the launch won't be purchased until then as well because we won't be clearing or
I would expect it to go in sooner
sooner? Okay,
based on this interim funding, this
Oh,
100,000
okay.
interim funding. So that would be a main goal for us as a department when speaking with the other jurisdictions. Like, we want to make sure we have this funding to purchase this launch. Can we use such and such amount of funds to get us clear to that point?
And
That's helpful clarification.
yeah, and I was
thank
just
you.
gonna say, so the funding then for 100,000 is essentially to Launch Park, but it's not really, is it to also clear past Launch Park too, potentially, or just from Williamston to Launch Park? Do you know?
So those discussions haven't happened yet.
Okay.
So we were just awarded the funds. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, we're having monthly meetings, so those are exact questions that we'll be trying to answer there.
Okay.
Where are those needs? Because we want to make sure that Williamston and Williamstown Township stays clear as
Right.
well, right? So
Right.
there's going to be it's going to be fluid, a little bit fluid there. Meridian is as the fiduciary, so we'll be in-house monitoring all of that, all of the funds.
I'm super passionate about this project, obviously.
Me too.
Which I think is so wonderful and much needed. But I'm just curious, how did we come, I can't remember, so how did we got to 100,000? And like, do we think that'll be enough to get us through to FY '28? Or do you anticipate this being a budget item that 100,000 like every year that the three will kind of come together? Because I imagine we like contributed a third of that and each of them did, or like, is that 100,000 over until 28, or is it 100 each year?
It is one-time funding.
Okay, one time, that's right.
Yeah, one-time funding to help us maintain where we're at. And so, not to say we couldn't go back and ask
Sure,
next year,
okay.
but this would be one-time funding and then developing the needs and assessment. However, again, that's gonna be fluid. One other thing to make note of is we were also given the approval to borrow against our $50,000 match. So all three entities have approved budget for a specific amount, which for us is 10,000,
Okay.
that we can use to borrow against that match.
Okay.
So that will, in addition to the 100,000 and not understanding fully how much it's going to take, I feel like we're in a good position, but I'm not afraid to ask next year.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So this is over and above our grant
That's
and
correct.
what we can borrow against, okay?
Yeah, yep.
So have you, and maybe you haven't, conceptualized, first of all, this mostly is chainsawing logs and then hauling them away, or is it more or less than that?
It varies, but I will tell you, my assessment from, Williamston all the way through to Harris Nature Center, or actually Red Cedar Park, there was 14 log jams, and out of those 5 are going to require heavy equipment.
I was just.
Yeah, so it all depends depends on the rain. Some of the other considerations are the location and then the access. Is it our land preserves? Can we get back to the river? Is it something we need to work with the property owner? So all of those are,
Those are
all
very,
considerations.
I can't think of any more aspects to it. And will it possibly include from Okemos Road to MSU, or is that like a later phase, or not when we have a partner for example?
So the ultimate goal is yes, all the way to MSU, and MSU and East Lansing are now very involved in this planning. So we have
Michigan Waterway Stewards.
Michigan Waterway Stewards, Lansing Pattern.
Red Cedar Fly Fishermen's for the Red Cedar.
Yep, and so working, once we develop this RFP for the actual contractor, the tree removal contractor, then we'll pull in all the volunteers that can help with some of that, like chainsaw and pulling out, as you mentioned. That can be done safely with trained volunteers.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people doing it now.
Yeah.
You know, if you see you can go to the Friends of the Red Cedar
Yep.
Facebook page and the Waterway Stewards Facebook page, and they're thanking people all the time. They're keeping updates on what's clear and what's not. And there's a guy named Tom that goes out there and chainsaws stuff all the time for people, and so
And there
trying to
was
keep it
a-
clear.
Paddle club that used
There
to,
used to be a Lansing Warren Paddle Club. I haven't seen them in a long
but.
time, but maybe
your-
they're still
Your
around.
point's a great one, that there are people doing some chainsawing.
Yeah, right, yeah, and they're keeping, I mean, you can look at a post just recently, asking for greater Red Cedar recreation opportunities from the, Friends of the Red Cedar River, calling on people to come out and help a little bit more, talking about MSU's landscape services being involved as well. And then there's a big group on campus of students that they're pulling together. There's a lot of energy right now on this, so I think you're gonna get a lot of support.
And I think it's
Good timing
furthered,
then.
and I don't know how many websites, I'm on. I think if you don't click on things after a while, you get dropped off. But there was some pretty both sad and amazing tasks done by cleaning up the Red Cedar, and they came up with like 187 of those green scooters.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
Believable amount, and yet however many there were, that contributes to, first of all, interest in the river, and secondly, if I were in a canoe or a pair of waders or whatever, they must have almost been, because right now we're in a drought, they must almost have been stacked on each other under the Hagedorn Bridge.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's pictures on here of them pulling them out, just how
Yes, I've
many of
seen
them,
them.
yeah, it's great.
Lining them up. Okay.
Yeah, East Lansing has their work cut out with that. I'll say in Meridian, we don't have that same challenge. We haven't
Well, I
found
think-
that same challenge.
It's up to East Lansing, and I've talked about it for a while, of either not allowing the scooters or have some more of a, what's the right word, deposit, if you will, when some kid tosses them in the river. Clearly, at the moment, they don't.
Yeah. And
That's a tough thing, because it's all like, you don't know who has it at the time, really. I mean, it's just a crazy thing. They're left everywhere, and, who's the last person to sign up? What's their responsibility? It's just, that's a tough business to have, I'm
Yes, so.
sure.
Yeah, and I do believe that both MSU and East Lansing are working with, having conversations with the companies that own the scooters. So I think they're working towards that. We're trying.
Right.
Excellent.
Trailhead?
Trailhead here for 5280 Okemos Road. That's right on the corner of Okemos Road and Kaler Seed Smith. I believe I have a mistake here because I think it's more than 10,000, but I will double check
For the
that.
planning.
Yeah, that's just for the planning, correct?
Okay, so that's kind of another design project.
Yes, and given that we are doing more site evaluation for the potential senior and community center on potential sites for that, I just paused that until we can move through that process in the event that that could be a potential site for a community or senior center. So it's still there, ready to go, but want to make sure that we don't move too quickly given the conversations happening. Moving to Harris Nature Center exterior rehab, that's complete. So that was $10,320. So that was mostly facade, but there was some, I wouldn't say structural repair, but some repair to assist with water damage and other concerns on an older, used-to-be home. So that's all finished. And then Central Park Pavilion rehab. Yes.
Before you go on, can I ask you a quick question
Sure.
on the trailhead and the planning and holding
Yeah.
the property? The way we acquired that, are there any constraints or limitations on what that property can be used for?
I'm sure they are, and I can look into the specifics, but what I would expect is that the Park Commission would be the entity that would be the authority on that, since it was purchased with Park Village money.
What was that, were you asking about the
It
trailhead?
had constraints on the way the property, this is in
the
your
grant?
neck of the woods.
Yeah, I know you
The
were
way the
speaking
pro-
that way, but
Well, it's Courtney's over there.
So-
So the way we purchased that, are there constraints or limitations on
So
what
it's a-
that property
the
can be
the
used?
trust
issue with
fund
it.
part or more or different?
Just a question on what,
Because the trust fund one is pretty simple, and that is it was dedicated in perpetuity to outdoor recreation and scenic beauty, because that's the trust fund add-on. And seriously, they don't have time, even though they let them live here, they don't have time to go out and monitor those sites.
something we need to be
But if it's
cognizant
in
of.
support of or is, again, outdoor recreation or scenic beauty, we don't have to, we're not required to tell the DNR. If the fire barn, because that's come up and it just doesn't happen. If the fire department wanted to put a shed in there, that would be a no from DNR, and it wouldn't even get to that point, I'm sure.
It's just some, I guess, as a commission that we, I think, need to be aware of, that we have
Oh,
a
yeah.
responsibility.
No, I think it's a
which is
plus.
Why you're here and
Especially-
such a strong member for that, that at least I rely on your grants background, but it was a
grants
question I
are-
had.
The grants are more than a plus for the money, they're also a plus for the perpetuity clause.
To the outdoor recreation and scenic beauty.
Right.
That's,
Well, and it's an important conversation to bring up because if it's being considered as a potential site for the community center,
Yeah,
then,
I mean,
then it can't be, right?
Can't be.
Like,
It
or
can't.
there has to be
We
some
need
sort
more
of,
information.
Yeah.
But that's
so,
Yeah.
where I
Very
was
good
just
point.
checking to see if that in fact is the case.
yeah,
I'd be more comfortable in just saying it can't be.
yeah.
Because the conversion requirements are so onerous that no one would ever want or ever has converted something with the idea of, which I'm sure the current chief has heard it too, but maybe we cured people of, well, we'll just pay it back. No, you won't. You got to get permission, in some case from the Department of Interior. But in the case of a trust fund, you've got to get the approval of the trust fund board that, I'm going on here, but there's no feasible alternative to what you want to do there, like a community center or fire barn.
Right.
I just thought as we move forward, it's good for the community in general to also be aware, because sometimes, based on my previous work, people see a vacant piece of property and they think, oh, it's kind of this fallow, or no matter what it's doing there. And there's some tendency often to think, oh, well, let's do this and this with it. Well, when we do it through grants, we have other obligations, and I just wanted to cross-check that as we were moving
I'm
forward.
so glad you did.
It might not just be just an open parcel there that can be used for anything.
Right, we have specific things that we said we would do with it, and we have
Exactly.
to, and we have to abide by those things.
Which I think we were very broad in it. I don't recall looking at the grant app, but you don't have to say much other than what we just said.
Right,
It just can't be used for anything, I think, from a layperson's standpoint, my own, that sometimes that's a tendency if you drive by a parcel,
Yeah.
on any kind of road. And we don't necessarily have that flexibility with this particular parcel.
I think that's really important. I will make sure I look into that.
Thank you for
Yeah.
digressing on that. I just
No.
was thinking if you said that. I'd tell you what.
Yeah, it's great you brought it up.
It's you.
yeah.
Barney Fife used to say, nip it in the bud. I don't know why I thought of that, but
Watching too much Me Too.
Central Park Pavilion rehab, that was completed, and it was completed under budget, which was great. Yes.
I was just gonna say, congratulations on that. Like, that's wonderful. I mean, to be that far under budget for a project that we kind of went back and forth on for a long time about, you
It
know,
had a
what to
life of
do.
its own, didn't it?
Yeah, it really
Did it?
did. But, I mean, that's just wonderful what you were able to do, and it looks so great.
Oh, that's
And you had your
fantastic.
first event there, which was really nice.
It's probably our most used pavilion.
Yeah.
Almost
I think,
every day.
I
It's
saw the volunteer, what was that called? You called it the?
Banquet.
the banquet.
The Thanquet, yeah, it was great.
I love it.
It was a lot of fun.
Does the funding that we didn't spend, does that go back into the Park Millage Fund, or does it go into the general fund?
That would stay in the Park Millage.
Park Millage,
Yeah,
okay, so it
yeah.
reverts back there, and then it doesn't revert anywhere else beyond that, it stays right in Park Millage, right?
In Park
Okay.
Millage, unless there's another project that we
Allocated
have a
it to.
need for, and we
Okay.
could use that funding.
Okay,
But
perfect.
yeah, it would just go into the reserve.
Okay, great, thank you.
And I will give Luann Maisner, my predecessor, I can tell she was thinking this through because we didn't know
Yeah.
what we wanted to do, if it was going to be rehab or full rebuild. So she built that in, which gave us that flexibility,
Yeah,
which was
that's
nice.
great.
Have you gotten comments back after it's completed now?
From,
Obviously, it's well used. Maybe Bridget's getting the comments. but-
yeah, we get a lot of positive.
Very popular, and before people were a little apprehensive to use it for like a wedding reception, but now they are very
Wow.
excited
I
to
didn't
use
think
it
about
for that and for
Yeah.
the bigger groups.
Much brighter.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to have a wedding?
No, way to put me on the spot, Mike. Do you get any comments about the oh gosh, the picnic tables?
Yes, yes.
Do you really?
Yes. So Commissioner Lick was
Yes.
her idea, like, you don't need new picnic tables, just spruce them up with this stain. And, yeah, we
Recommended
get,
color and everything. I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I did. I showed Larry the color and he
Yeah.
got it done. But, yeah, it just finished that look, like you
Yeah.
mentioned,
It doesn't look so gray, it gives it a little bit
yeah,
of a pop of
yeah,
color.
exactly. We get a lot
exciting.
of positive feedback, especially even from folks in here, because they're looking at it all day long. And so, like, it really looks great, Courtney, and it's great to see, people out there. So it, yeah, it's very exciting.
Right, yeah.
And then park signage, that's park millage funding. We appropriated 92,500. We've spent 92,500. However, just to know that project cost more than that, but our Trails Pathways picked that up, so.
Was
our
this
general
the
fund.
additional funding that we added at the end to complete all the signage within the same time period?
Yes,
So there was more additional money before that?
there
or were
must have
just-
been,
okay.
yes, there
That's
must
what
have
I
been,
was-
because this was only certain parks, and I could look that up too, but,
I just want to say this is incredibly helpful.
okay,
Getting
good.
through this.
Okay,
I
excellent.
love the way that it's laid out. I think it's, super, super helpful. And I just really appreciate you taking the time with the commission to pull this together and add it to the agenda every time so that we know where things are at and how much is spent and where it's coming from, because this is a resource that I feel like when I'm out in the community or someone asks me a question, it's like a quick resource that I can go to, and it's just very, very clear. And so if it, since it says October 2024, like this is all of 2024, this just happens to be the October budget update, right?
This is just the budget update. So I plan to do every month, bring
Yeah.
you the next budget update, but it would be to date, and I can make that.
Year to date, okay, yeah,
I can make that note. And I'll put it in 8-point font next time.
instead of 4.
Yes, Karen.
Maybe have my annual item.
So part of it, and that's what I guess when we're talking about this is something we'd like to tweak through this year. So we got a whole nother meeting so that by January, we have something we will have pretty consistent than every meeting. So any changes that would be helpful would be the time to add this so Courtney can kind of tweak that.
Well, if you want to put dash by 5280 Okemos Road and put concept design,
Oh, engineering concept design, yep.
Michelle, did you have other?
Yeah, I think the only other thing, since it's not taking up too much space, what would be nice below it potentially, or if you did it like in a landscape, printed it out that way, is to have the 2025 like, proposed
Proposed budget.
and projects, just so that, so like, for instance, if I'm taking this and someone asks me like, oh, you know, what about the bathroom, or what about the, pickleball courts that I heard that you guys were gonna be I could see that that's coming next year, and that would give me a sense of like, okay, no, it's coming, but it's not until next year.
Once it's approved.
Once it's approved, yeah, like a list of approved projects that are coming
Stuff that we're
up.
working on.
Or, yeah, stuff that we're working on in the next year, so
Right.
that it's kind of like for 2025. I think that would be super helpful, because then we can see what's been budgeted this year, and then we know what's coming for next year.
Love it.
And the only other thing that I thought might be really helpful for you, it's really like kind of up to you, Courtney, is doing the director's report and the budget together. So that
okay.
it's more in line with
The project.
the projects.
Yeah.
So just so that, because like we do it here,
Yep.
and then we talk about the Town of Road Pickle and discussion, action items, and then we go back to kind of
Yep,
projects or whatever, so.
I like that.
Yep. That's good. Do you have anything else, Commissioner Lake?
No.
Commissioner Stevens?
I don't have any comments.
Commissioner McDowell, nothing more? Okay. Well, if you do, go ahead and feedback, because that's our intent, is to try and have exactly what we've been working on for at least 3 or 4 months and make it clear, so we all have that as a quick go-to. And also during the meetings, that's what you're talking about, that we'd have that for reference, so. So my thing is, this will be a compilation, right? So as we go on, we'll keep that, not necessarily the prior years, we'll start just with this year and then add to that, so we'll all have that. Is that the plan?
That would be great.
Like the previous decade.
I will do whatever you want. I've got the best
we
admin.
okay?
Are we
Are we okay
tell
with
us?
just starting with this year, though, and building forward? is what I'm thinking.
excellent.
Okay, yeah, that could be a whole
And we can
different.
tweak it as we go along
Sure.
next year too,
Okay.
if something comes up.
I just thought if this is the format, because that's what I think we've been struggling with, is something that's really usable and helpful for us as commissioners, that doesn't have, I appreciate there's a whole lot more to the budget that has to do with operations and staff salary and equipment, but I'm not believing the commission necessarily needs that.
No, I
And
think
if we
maybe,
have questions, Courtney will be able to provide that to us. But
right.
I guess I'll just say this, I think if we start getting to the point where we're preoccupied with what raise each staff person got and exactly what their salary is, I think that's off base for the commission. I think
Oh,
it
yeah,
should
that's
be
not-
more
Yeah,
global. Okay.
right.
Just double checking.
I would say it'd be interesting if at some point, like, we think it would be helpful to review, not that detailed, but just like an overall once a year when we
That's what
do
I
the
think
master
we-
park.
Once a year.
Like, when we look at that and look at our capital improvement plan and stuff like that, like maybe it makes sense to do like a one-time
To put it in
overview. But yeah, to put it in context, but
Or
for
if we
these,
can be an advocate for needs.
Exactly,
of-
right.
Of the department.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, if somebody's struggling, or whatever, if you're struggling and you need help, you know, then what can we do to help that out? If within the budget or,
And we talked about doing that earlier. I think I forget for a variety of reasons. The township's gone through a lot of changes this year, not through the park commission, but I think we talked about bringing the budget to the commission initially at, was it April?
Yes.
And then have our budget portion approved by June,
Yep.
so that it's entered into the township and ready by August. Does
Yep.
that sound about right?
is
Yes.
that the year,
June.
when's the new, is it October? When's the new fiscal year?
No, fiscal year starts Jan 1.
Oh, it does,
Yep.
January, okay.
But it starts January 1, but come April, we start thinking about budget for
Yeah.
2026. So, and this year could have been planned better on my part.
I don't
But
know
no, we
that that
know.
was you. I think we had a lot of moving
Yeah.
parts
Okay.
within the township this year is my sense, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking that gives us so we're talking about in April, so that gives us an opportunity to revisit the 5-year and then the capital improvement plan and see that in context for whatever we're talking about for that budget year. That provides us a meeting in between before we actually vote on the budget to, ferret it out. And then that will provide another month in between before it has to be delivered to the township board. So I'm thinking that should provide us
I was gonna,
opportunity.
Chair, if it's okay, like to propose Q1 is kind of reviewing the CIP and the 5-year, and it's like us just really, not really looking at budget, but just kind of like what the community has said.
Reminder.
And yeah, so it's like, that's for Q1, then Q2 is like budget review. And then Q3 is like getting it in front of the board or whatever. And then Q4, like, we're not really doing anything, but I don't know that it's really been chunked that way.
Not
before.
previously. I think sometimes,
Yeah.
particularly if someone's been in a position a long time, it's so natural, it just flows.
Yeah.
And for all of us, whatever we do day to day, we know the details.
Right.
But to present that kind of hit fresh for the commission, we haven't talked about or thought about it for those prior 9 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And I think just what you're outlined would be helpful. And that's what we're building towards, I guess.
Because I think what happens then if you say, okay, we're going to review this in Q1, then if for some reason meeting is canceled or something like that, it's like, oh, we didn't review, we have to have this on the agenda for March, like if we didn't get to it in February. So we have some sort of like mental, like we're not going to move into the budget phase until we've done this part and did a really deep dive. Because I think sometimes when you're trying to do the CIP and review the 5-year plan and like this current year, and we're looking at budget, like it can just be a lot. And so, I don't know.
That's good clarification, because that's
Yeah.
what, I guess I feel like sometimes we've gotten into figuring out the budget and we're still going back to, on our own review, whatever the CIP was. And that
Right.
had already, in my mind, been put to rest. We already talked about that and done that. But by doing it, as you outlined, and more sequential over the year, then I think that will provide that foundation so we're all remembering. And then this will be handy, whatever we use. Plus,
Yeah, we used to do this all the time back in, a while back, where, well, no, we had no money. So the
Oh,
problem
I
was that
see.
you're always planning and then working within a budget that you didn't have any. And then we were always putting stuff forward and seeing what was on there and moving things around, and it was a nightmare. So this is great.
Okay,
Okay.
What
good.
you're doing, so we
Good,
can
good.
see what we have planned and see what the types of monies that we do have, what's coming in, taxes going up with people or whatever.
where we have
Homes, you know.
flexibility and where we don't. Because I also thought, based on questions I heard from the commission, that there was a sense that we had more flexibility than we did. Like we had already made decisions and we got to a point where that we were still trying to flex that.
Right.
And I don't think, so we'll do this for 2025 and see how that goes,
Yeah.
continuing to tweak it.
Tweak, yeah. Yeah.
And I love this update on a regular basis because kind of to what you both just said, but like a specific example is around the cricket. It's like, so now we know we're 110,000 under. And so we have that money that was allocated to another project. It's like, okay, now if there are projects that we hadn't budgeted for, can we get like a little bit of an earlier start on those? Because we know that 110,000 is available now. And I just feel like this gives us line of sight to that in a way that we've never really had before to make some of those decisions. or
To
have-
still work in our
Right.
priority order.
Exactly, still
But to
working.
recognize we have flexibility, because everything
Right.
goes up, it doesn't go down.
Right. Yeah.
It's,
Commissioner McDonald, do you have anything else before Director Wazinski? Did you have any questions of the commission as you move forward with this?
no, just, I appreciate the feedback, and all of this planning helps me too when I'm talking to the community or when I'm talking to the board or to management. So it's great to have that support in us making decisions together regularly. So thank you for that.
Okay, County Road?
Towner Road, so we wanted to just add this in, Towner Road pickleball, courts are of course owned and managed by us, but there's a particular group, that helps coordinate the activities at Towner. And, two persons, Sandy and Sally, and I should know both their last names, but it's escaping me, but I just wanted to put this in here. These are just snippets of all of the emails I was receiving in the last couple of weeks about how much that people really appreciate having that type of organization and the folks out there to help them learn the game and have fun playing the game. And so I wanted to share that it's, I wouldn't call it rare, but it's certainly not common to get so many positive comments in an email
Yeah.
to the park director. So,
Great.
So thank you to them. And that's not to say that Hillbrook, our other pickleball group, isn't just as wonderful, just not as vocal.
next month, you'll be
Get it
getting
about-
lots of emails from them now.
Beth
there
runs a
were-
really great,
There were at least two others than myself that were there. You're not going to get any more emails. Beth and Lance and others already know how good you are.
we get, no, these aren't about me.
Our program.
Okay. Yes,
If
and
we do send you one, it's not going to, my son's an English teacher. We will not use the word diffuse in there because the word is defuse.
okay,
So you don't diffuse a disagreement with someone,
you defuse
you
it.
defuse
I
it.
like it.
And I'm sure Sally defused some, that's what the person said.
That's my communications chair.
Okay, with that, do we have a motion to accept and place the communications on file? A second?
Second.
Commissioner Lick, all those in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed, no. That passes unanimously. Do I need to do anything else with that? That's it, right? That puts it where it needs to go, okay. All right, discussion items, we have none in front of us right now. Action items, we do not have any in front of us right now. So Director Wazinski, we are on to Director's Report, and I'm hearing in the future, we will tie our budget updates into Director's Report. So you've kind of started that already, I guess. All right, go ahead.
And Chair Ferris, if you don't mind me asking you and the commissioners, is it helpful for me to list what I'm going to talk about? Okay, so we have some sort of, and then that way, if there's something missing that you would like, I think then you would have a better idea. Okay, so Bridget and I plan to put it in this format moving forward.
Yeah, this is,
Are you comfortable with that? I mean,
It quite honestly, it helps me keep track too throughout the month. I just keep adding it to the actual agenda so I don't forget or lose a sticky or whatever may happen.
yeah. I thought it was really helpful today when I looked at it. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I know this is one of the things that we talked about in the previous
Yeah.
meeting, so it's really nice because before it would just say Director's Report, and then you would have a list of things you'd talk about, but I was like trying to keep track of
Right.
all the things. So yeah, this is wonderful.
Excellent. Well, we'll start with the community and/or senior center updates. For those watching, and the commissioners know that the Supervisor Hendrickson has developed a new task force that has members from different aspects of the community to give input on moving forward with the either redevelopment or development of a community and/or senior center. And Commissioner Lick is serving on behalf of the Park Commission, which is fantastic. There is, on our website, there's all the details to that, but just want the public to know that they are being televised.
See?
So that is helpful, I think, for everyone to just, even if they can't make it to the meeting, they can go back or watch it and kind of keep everything as transparent as possible.
is that from here? From you?
It's in this, yep.
Okay.
And I believe it's the third, and I'm not going to say it out loud, we'll check for dates. I will say the next meeting is on the 22nd, so October 22nd is the next task force meeting. And what staff has been tasked with for that meeting is looking for additional sites. So wanted us to do an assessment of sites in a tiered approach, a senior community center, which would be larger, and/or a senior center, which would be smaller footprint, and is there more sites available that could accommodate that? So that's what we're working on, and we have an internal meeting next week to kind of work through some of those.
How long did the meeting last and how many were there?
That's a great question, Mike. And unfortunately, I was not able to attend the first meeting because I was traveling for work. But Courtney went for us.
I would say approximately 2 hours, and there was members of the public there, so engagement, which is great. And I believe the task force took up this, yeah, I think we were 9 because we wanted Supervisor Hendrickson wanted an odd number.
Okay,
Curious, based on that, looking for different kinds of sites, is there a possibility that there will only be a senior center and not a community senior center? Because that seems like new information for me.
Yes, from the last meeting, there was public comment requesting that we look at that from that lens as well. And
Because of the size of the parcels available, or?
I believe the variety and the size of parcels.
Okay.
And so the task force took the public's recommendation and then asked the staff to just look into it.
Okay.
But using similar criteria to what the previous task force, location, accessibility on a bus line, City Central, Hazlet, Okemos, so looking from all of those criteria that had been looked at previously as well.
How about connection with public schools, with Okemos Public Schools? 'Cause that seems like a huge thing.
So both superintendents, so Superintendent Hood and Malley, Hazlet and Okemos sit on the task force.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So there's representation and that coordination, right? Currently, the senior center sits within the Okemos Public Schools. And they have been more than willing to accommodate that moving forward. But looking at it from a community perspective, does that make the best sense if we've got some other funding and we can look at something a little more central or unified than the senior center sitting in one of our two school districts?
So is the, not the concept, but the parameters are, every site is still on the table, and that would include Yonkers, or Yonkers is out, or to be determined?
I would expect it to include Yonkers as a site to look at.
And I imagine, and not just advocating or picking on Parks fine print, I imagine that schools of Hazlet and Okemos might feel similarly about land they might own somewhere. Whether we would think it's surplus or not, they might not.
Good point.
Yeah, that is a good
That's what I was going at there.
Because I'm not thinking of something I know, because I don't know. I only knew 10 or 15 years ago, they had bought a site, schools had bought a site on Green Road, and then they sold it. Now, I didn't care, but it's the site of a subdivision. And again, whoopee, but they had looked ahead and decided they looked too far ahead and didn't need another school on Green Road. But whoever's our planner now, I'm sure has right at their disposal of, what would you call it at a township level? Plat map?
Plat maps, yeah.
Yes,
Who owns what, where.
it's online. It's very cool. Yeah, you
Oh, it is now? It used to be you have to pay for those.
Yeah.
When you-
through the township.
So when you went hunting, you had to buy a plat book.
Yeah.
And put it under the chair next to you, right,
Yeah.
in the car.
No, you put it under the seat where you were. So
Just
John,
put it in the next
so
seat.
John Trevor didn't have to reach over and get it. I don't think, we never bought a plat book because Muck, MUCC used to have.
They have plat maps, yep. That was the biggest
Kind of
thing
what
we
they
had
were,
in our.
they were known for that and their naturalist camps but the old MUCC map is gone forever.
So good to know that we've progressed in some ways.
Progress, yep. We got a map viewer on Meridian Township's website, so it's.
Yeah, and I did not know that, and I'm cool with it, and if I don't look at it, that's fine too, but that's what you're here for.
I'm here for you.
So it sounds like it was a great start to a reboot and good participants and.
Yeah, I'm feeling very positive about it. So yes, and can't wait for Commissioner Lick to attend and kind of give your thoughts as well.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, oh,
Sitting out.
you're welcome. I'm really excited about it, and I was disappointed that I couldn't attend the first meeting, but I couldn't avoid it with this work travel that I already had scheduled, but I'm excited. I mean, it looks like the task force will run through like the first part of next year, like the first quarter, and hopefully we'll have like a resolution or steps to move forward at that point. So, yeah, I think, and maybe not, it may take a little bit longer too, but right now it's meeting, it's like the township board meets the first Tuesday, and then we meet the second Tuesday, and then it's the third Tuesday, I think, of every month.
Yeah, because the board does 2 per month, so yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
so
little
something
funky.
like that, but yeah.
It's the 1 week that we don't have.
One non-voting.
You're always bored on Tuesday nights anyway.
Yeah.
Excellent, yes, I'm feeling very positive. We talked a little bit, this, again, makes sense why we would talk about budget
Yeah.
and Red Cedar Waterway updates. So just to reiterate, waiting on the interim funding, we've set monthly meetings between the entities and then kind of move forward with that planning. Next step is to develop the request for proposal for the tree service, so I'm working on that. Any additional questions on Red Cedar? Good.
Anybody?
Okay, this is me again with my acronyms. So C is the Harris Nature Center, HNC, Marshall Park, Ted Black Woods, parking lot replacements. So, of course, Marshall, it was the parking lot and the basketball court have been installed, so they're ready. They're ready for striping.
Someone doing something over there.
And I also, since we're on, this is a little off subject, but for Marshall Park, was getting a lot of questions about the area that was made for native plants, so we did put a sign out there.
Oh, nice.
So in case you guys get questions, or hopefully won't get as many now, but,
Yeah, it was a pretty square area
Yeah.
of dead plant. So it
There was
begged
lots-
for questions.
there was lots of questions, and quite honestly, all valid, not bad ideas, all valid.
All valid.
I will say, though, for public, that the reason we're planting native plants there is because that's saturated soil. So you can't put a pickleball court, which I think a lot of folks were hoping for. You can't.
The square.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It had a lot of questions.
Yeah, so it's there to be beautiful and native, but also to absorb additional, water.
That'll be a nice addition to the playground, though, as we expand out, playground structures to the tactile and the sensory
Yeah.
aspects. A lot of times we don't have that opportunity because the locations are smaller, they're not so close, so I'm
Yeah, that's a good
excited to
point.
see what we can do with that.
And then when we get to plan for all the other amenities,
Yeah.
I think it'll be great.
That Nature's Playscapes, I don't know if you know them or not.
Yeah,
That's a very good organization and does a lot of cool natural
Yeah.
stuff.
This nature center uses them.
Oh, do they?
Some of theirs, yeah.
Yeah, Tricia Kiala is a great lady. She was an original Project Fish person down in Portage, and then she started her own business after that. And
What I like too is as we have talked about through ADA and other things being more inclusive of the population, I think sometimes whatever, those that are looking for more sensory, tactile, quiet are lost. And it often, I know from my experience in construction, that's the thing that gets eliminated first is anything that ties into the plan. So this is a nice opportunity to tie that together and continue with being inclusive because I know that's the commission's goal.
Yes, absolutely.
avoid stinging nettle, though.
That's why you're here. That's why you've been here.
He says that every year for the last 18 years.
Harris Nature Center is complete. I don't know if you saw, but we put it on the website that we closed last week to allow for the repaving, which actually gave our staff a little break, and our superintendent got to go on vacation, but they got it done very quickly. So we're waiting for striping, but it's open. And then Ted Black Woods as well. They're reduced the footprint, but not the number of parking spots. And much of that was where the old sign was, from what I understand, versus where it is now. So just redid that entire configuration, so it would be more efficient. Then, any questions on parking lot?
Is that on both sides too, or no? Isn't there a parking lot on Grand River as well for Ted Black?
It was the Grand River parking lot.
Oh, that's the
Thank
one
you.
that you're
Yes,
doing?
yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm sorry, I forget.
The other one is
It's in the
gravel, right?
Vanetta, right? Yes.
Yeah, I
it's
didn't.
gravel.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for clarifying. Farmers Market, 50th anniversary murals were all completed with the artist as well as the community that completed the panels. So the next step is to all the panels have to be put together and framed, and then some, protective coating. And then the 50th anniversary committee will do a ribbon cutting. So we'll make sure that the park commission is there. But Bridget and I got to see them, and they're very cool. Very, very cool. Our dog park in Hillbrook, very cool. It's a similar mural style, but you can tell the difference in artists, which I think is good for the community.
Yeah.
And some of the folks at Hillbrook will comment now and then about the murals. I'm glad it's stayed up.
Yeah,
I mean, no reason for it not to stay up.
but yeah,
Well.
that it's still there and it's doing well.
There's some degenerates there in Hillbrook for sure.
Commissioners.
You have to clarify that you live near.
Exactly, you live there.
I live there.
That's why you're
That's
saying
what I'm
that.
saying.
Not a disparaging comment.
I dare you to
about
find
that.
the one blank panel that I painted at one year's, whatever, July 4th, Dunk the Clown Day kind of thing. And when I went up to volunteer, because they had people come up to do panels, I mean, it was instant. The two ladies were there, said, "You're not touching anything that has anything artistic to do with it." And I just had walked up.
Oh, my gosh.
So they let me paint
What does that mean?
white or gray, one panel.
They must have seen your skills somewhere before.
Yeah. or-
Take it personal, or it was?
Oh, no, I
just
figured,
general?
well,
They
no,
only
you-
wanted the.
They're the
artists to
experts.
use
You
it.
They know me.
You must have met my wife. I can't paint anything. I have trouble painting floors, but I keep
So
trying.
they were passing notes in advance, here comes Mike.
No, I got
Yeah,
paint
that'd be,
over every
I
pair
would
of
be
pants I
personally
own.
offended, I think.
No, because it was quite obviously a memorable thing, because it was like 15 years ago.
Well, that's exciting.
I'll give you another chance if we do any more, okay?
The other
We'll
thing
save
we-
you a square.
The other
Oh, boy.
thing we had talked about near the farmer's market, and I don't know, not that's tied into this, but at one point we talked about doing something on the road, kind of like they do in, what's near Saugatuck? What's near Saugatuck? You know, to stop traffic, just to
Douglas or
slow traffic
Oh,
down and
on-
possibly, I don't know what the controls are, but just maybe down the road.
On
Although at
Central
some
Park?
point there might be too much going on. Yeah. We talked about that, where people cross, it's
Right,
like
like
to slow
making-
traffic down.
yeah,
Traffic
exactly.
calming, maybe just to make something like.
We did talk about that a while back.
During market specifically, or
It
in
was
general?
just in general, yeah, I don't know how long it would last there, or if we even have the ability to do that, but just looking more specifically at traffic calming.
Yeah.
That was an idea that had come up.
And it's a topic that a few folks that are also bikers I know who are in the know, and that is when you come to, now there's 3 of them on just Okemos Road alone, you're not required to stop. And some people think you are, and then I don't think anybody's gotten,
You are in Florida.
well, that's maybe a difference that.
Yeah, you are in Florida. You
I
have
know
to stop
there-
When I
where you get a
did when
ticket.
I did my one trip, just so happened on the brand new trail, when it comes to the gigantic bridge going back, it was dark, 99% dark. Dad and his son were just out for a walk. We came up to it together, and there's a lot of traffic, as you know. On the right side, the car in front had stopped. On the left side, the cars just kept coming in. The dad's comment was, well, at least 50% of the cars stopped. But it's a major, major step here in Michigan. I didn't realize it was that way in Florida.
Oh, yeah,
It's a major, major dealio in Michigan. You couldn't have, and I would guess the road commission guy isn't here. I just don't think you can have 3 stop points on Okemos Road and get that through the road commission. Let alone have it not be popular, right?
The road commission, that was a road commission project.
It's a project, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's the legalities of that? I think,
Zip.
so whenever I am there, I stop because I think, like in Florida, you have to stop or you get a ticket.
Then at
So I didn't
MSU,
know if you get a ticket or
at
not. when you
MSU
drive through.
it says you must stop
Right.
if you're reading it, not driving while you're reading. But at MSU, someone in the crosswalk, you have to stop.
There's that in the crosswalk where were they in the crosswalk when they pushed a button and it came on or, so it's, what do our police say? Would the police pull people over if they didn't stop?
No, they couldn't.
I'm not sure, but we can look
should
into that.
probably check into that.
It is becoming more and more congested right there, and, I get a lot of calls about it.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree. I go in and out of there all the time, so the turning left is getting more and more
Yeah.
challenging, and that's not even with the pedestrian or the bike traffic, so
Right.
I can look into that.
And it is, at least among a limited number of people, like the guy that worked on my bike and his roommate, and that is when you come to the end of the new phase by Campus Hill, there is no blinking light. There's a crosswalk, but you have to go over the viaduct to Park Lake where there's been a blinking light forever, and actually that's a stoplight too. I don't think my casual friends were saying there ought to be one there. They just made a point, now that I've seen it, they said, well, you have to go over the viaduct to get a red light, green light thing.
And of course, that's MDOT.
And
And that's not the road
And
commission.
the new bike path is universally loved.
Yeah.
I was saying, why not?
Yeah, it's
you've been on
beautiful,
it.
but yes, you're right, I see lots and lots. I can tell when people are parking all the way down Gaylor Smith, and there's plenty of parking there, but that usually happens in the summer when we have extra employees. But it's trail users.
Oh, I
so
see, got it.
That's why that trailhead will be very
That's why that
fantastic.
My son was filming it the other day. 'Cause
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and he's walking along the path and a car's coming toward him. He's like, what's going on here? The guy said, is this a road?
Oh,
And somebody, he turned off of
That, he
this
could get a
road
ticket for
onto
it.
that, and he drove back in there. And so Dad said, I think you need to turn around because there's bollards at the other end of this. You can't get out of it. So he had to back out of it somehow. and,
Oh,
yeah,
my
He had to back all the
goodness.
way out. He was almost to the bollards on the other end. So
Maybe we need a sign there. This
Or maybe some
this is not a
bollards.
road.
Yep.
Well, it'd be different after dark too.
pedestrians only or
Well,
something.
it wasn't, it was in the day. It was
No,
in
I
the
got
day,
it. That's what I'm saying. If it were after dark, then be really.
Yeah, Dan was kind of freaked out. He's like,
Yeah, we do have
our car on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Access,
Heck
that's
yeah.
probably what we have at the other side, so the emergency vehicles.
Oh, good
get in,
point.
But not everybody gets in.
Yeah.
I can see where that'd be confusing, and then the winter that adds to that.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, so many stories we could have, okay.
That's that requirement of a 10-foot path, right?
Yeah.
10-foot path to get a car in there, it looks like a road to me.
And I think, because we used to
it'd be
do
a
this
driveway.
at work all the
Right.
time.
Yes,
I think
right.
now the standard for a path is 12.
Oh, is it?
I think that's 12, but I might be wrong.
Ours is, I don't want to misspeak, but I've always understood it as 10.
Okay,
But
that's within
I should
the,
confirm that.
no, that's within the specs too.
Oh, okay.
But you go much further than that, like 14, you got a road.
You're gonna have.
And I learned that from Mark Pearson, our Parks Division, one of our Parks Division designers, at just a meeting on a boat ramp. You know, a one-lane road is X and a two-lane road is X plus.
Value of landscape architects and engineers.
Well, and he's passed away and we miss him dearly.
Yes, we do.
One of our staff, whether he worked for me or not, had designed a boat ramp with literally an 8-foot entrance road. So we had a meeting, look at the specs for the new Lost Lake boat ramp. And Mark goes, what the heck has Tom done this time? You know who Tom was.
Yeah.
And he,
No last
I don't know, No, you can't drive into a boat ramp on an 8-foot road. So there's
So many good,
standards.
okay.
Upcoming events, I have been working to attend the Southern Michigan Recreation and Parks Association meetings.
Great.
So that, we have one on Thursday, so I'll
Great.
attend that. It's great brainstorming.
Yes.
And also resources, just.
There's some pretty cool resources down in
Yeah.
the Detroit area.
Yeah.
Southeastern Michigan.
But Smurfit would include that's germs. Smurfit would include City of Lansing.
Correct.
Yeah.
So whether Kaczynski goes or not, either his staff or him, that's
He
really
hosts.
valuable.
Yeah, he usually hosts at the Foster.
Because he and I happen to be in line at the football game and he's wearing Ohio State outfit, but And his brother was with him, who looks just like him. And I said, how's work going? And he said, the homeless thing is just killing me. I don't know anything other than the homeless problem is still huge in Lansing, and it's not been a problem here yet.
We have some folks that we're working on additional housing for, yeah.
But not camping out
Houseless.
in our woods or parks.
That'd be a police question.
No, I don't.
Not in our parks.
never seen it.
Not in our parks, for sure. Well, not for sure. We have not had any complaints
I've
of,
not run across any, like
Yeah.
out walking,
That's right.
I have seen those old,
Yeah.
places where people have been living,
Yeah.
yeah,
but I haven't seen any in a while.
yeah.
Do we have any other questions for Director Wazinski?
No.
Nothing? Okay. So agenda item 10 is our land preservation report. Commissioner Stevens?
I don't have anything. I was not at the last meeting. There's a meeting tomorrow.
Is it surgery?
That one, unfortunately. But I had surgery the day that meeting was, so I couldn't make it then. So I do not. And I'd like an update. I haven't thought that, I know they're doing great work out there. That's pretty much, I've
Are
seen.
you gonna miss the meeting? Cause I'll have Emma reach out to you.
Yeah, tomorrow. I'm not,
Perfect.
I let Emma know.
Okay, yeah, I'll make sure she gets
Okay.
everything you need.
Thank you for doing that. I like though that, and I appreciate you stepping forward to do that we are working closer with them, because I would hate to think that they're moving on one path and we're moving on another, so. And I guess,
So at the moment, there's no parcels of land they're interested in, or you are interested in.
No, not at this point
Okay.
that we're looking at, no.
I guess,
Unless it came up at the last meeting, that I wasn't at. So
I don't believe
you
so.
don't know of any. I didn't see anything in the agenda that there
Yeah.
was something that we were
There's
looking
certainly
at. no.
nothing in the works.
We've been just looking at stewardship work on the pieces of property that the ladies or the interns who are incredible, they're doing a lot of work over on Tie Hart Road and the farm there, and then also the Davis Farm, quite a bit of stuff on the Davis Farm. And just doing stewardship stuff.
Yeah, they work hard.
They work
They're
hard.
fantastic.
Those guys are always out in the field, and they just love doing what they're doing. They're all like into everything, a cluster of bugs on a plant. They're like looking at it and telling people about it and taking photos and sharing it. And it's great. It's good stuff. Yeah.
They certainly create a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It's a good group anyways, but then yet they have people that are excited to do the work, so.
Right.
I was going to say for the future, what I'd like to do is add community center updates, kind of like we do the land preservation report.
Okay.
So that we would have an update from
Yeah.
the commissioner.
So just make it its own
And there
agenda.
may be others, but that's the one that comes to mind right now. Yeah, just as a add-on, so that we're all, because I know we're all interested, and that way we'd all be kept current with what the activities are.
Yeah.
That's
on the
great.
task force. And be able to, for a minute, take that information back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment? Hi, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I was gonna
If you
start.
want to make a comment, that's
Yeah, of
fine.
course. Just of course to introduce myself, my name is Kyle Keegan. I'm a junior journalism student at Michigan State University. I'm a reporter for the Spartan Newsroom. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's a student-led media outlet, like with professional assistants essentially. So like my editors and the people who upload my stories, they are professionals, they've had stuff published, so on and so forth. And the reason I'm initially here today is I'm in a Journalism 300 class, and part of one of my assignments is to have a story like come into like a city council meeting or kind of something like that, area, I suppose. And so unfortunately, I'm sure like all of you guys, I'm very busy. This was Tuesday the 8th was the only day that I could actually come to any kind of meeting. So I found that you guys had a meeting today, and I figured it would be good. And I wanted to do my story just kind of based on listening to some of the things that you guys said. And so I was wondering if over the course of the next week, any of you phone call interviews or just kind of stuff like that before the deadline, which is next Wednesday the 16th. And I was thinking about doing this thing, just kind of about, I would like to place on the calendar, you know, some, the dates of all the times and the names, you know, just yes, I'm coming on. So my assumption is that you guys are doing some kind of match party for each of those games. Is that so?
No, we're gonna have to pass that on and tell him he's
He's gonna have
responsible.
to start doing that
I'll
now.
tell him he's responsible for
It's got 2 recognitions now.
Yeah.
he's responsible for the beverages at the upcoming watch parties.
So it's a very good question. It would be because our recreation specialists create these calendars, so they love Detroit sports. So they are not watch parties, it's just letting you know when. However, I think it's a great idea and we could potentially move in that direction.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if that was the case. Well,
No.
in any
No, there's
event-
interest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For sure.
In any event, I was just kind of wondering if there was, you know, I'm looking for a lead on the story, and you know, I was wondering if there's any events that you guys have been planning that are upcoming that you might want to talk about or kind of have a platform to discuss. My target audience is members of the community and students at Michigan State, so you know, I'm willing to, you know, find anything that you guys think would be a good story. I mean, I don't know if that's how that company necessarily.
No, it's very concise, and
I'm talking to all of you guys.
is there a place he could go where names and phone numbers would just be in one big box for him?
I guess what I'd like to recommend is you start with Director
Oh, yeah.
Wazinski as far as maybe what your primary story might be. And I would think, would all the commissioners be
Yeah.
open to,
You
and
can,
then
Give
she
out my
or
phone
our
number
administrative
and email.
assistant Bridget
Sure.
can provide that information to you to follow up. Will that work for
So I
you?
actually went to a building, I forgot what the gentleman's name who I met with, it might have been,
Mike?
Mike,
I met Mike, and he told me about you, Director Wazinski, and he said that, because I went there, because that's what it said on the website.
yeah.
right,
And so I came here and he said I'd like have the opportunity to talk to you guys, but yeah, I would definitely love the
Sure.
opportunity to talk to you about any particular event or certain, like maybe a number of events that you wanted to, you know, not kind of advertise, because that's not what I'm doing, I'm like talking about like just the facts of it all.
Featured.
I'm a journalist, but yes, a feature, of course.
I was actually thinking the waterway project would be a really good one for you to, I mean, it's not an event necessarily, but it's like a project that is bringing together multiple communities and includes Michigan State and includes East Lansing. And it's gonna make the river a better place, you know, for the students and for the residents and everything. So I just was thinking that might be a really good one.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And whenever you guys.
Emma would be, she's on that committee, right? The Water Stewardship Committee?
She is, but she's not intimately involved with our portion of the project. She helps more with Michigan Waterways, so we're still developing the plan, so
Okay.
I can certainly be your contact, and I'll give you my card when
Absolutely,
we're
Mike
done.
actually did give me your card, I have it
Oh,
right here.
well, there we go.
Boy, he was
He's
working on
on
Is
it.
it appropriate for me to shoot you a text, is your number on here?
That would be that's a landline, so yeah, if you would email me, that would be
Okay,
great.
I'll definitely shoot you an email off my MSU email. And I was just wondering if we could discuss, I'm not sure if any of the rest of the board of you wanted to have an open comment on that as part of my story. I'll just be honest with you, I have to have 3 human sources, so I'll definitely wanna, you know, talk to like any number.
If you could start with Director Wazinski as far as featured items, and if there's follow-up, I'm sure each commissioner would be happy to answer any questions, just to make sure that we're focused
Absolutely,
on what
that's
you
totally okay
can
with me.
provide, and then whatever
course.
else you need.
Yeah.
Well, the way
It's
I see it, you know, you guys are doing me a favor, so, yeah, of course.
Well, maybe you're doing us a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, it goes both
It's mutual.
That's something I do learn about. It's like, you know, being able to stop, like, people do want to talk to journalists. You know, like, I sometimes don't feel that way, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, if it's, okay with you, then I would likely shoot you an email tomorrow morning and we could schedule a time perhaps for an interview either in person or on the phone. I'm pretty open during the day, like in mornings and afternoons, over the course of the next week. Like evenings might be more difficult, but I assume like, you know, during the day is better anyway. And then we can have something organized, and then once we've discussed the event, then I can go forward with reaching out to you guys after I talk to Director Wazinski, if that's okay with everybody else.
Sounds great.
And you already know where to go, so. Your office is right next to Mike's.
That is our office, yeah.
And I'd like to compliment you, which you won't understand, but we had a group of folks at our last meeting, and it seemed ironic that they left after 61 minutes and left. And I think it's really cool that you've stuck it out.
Through all this.
There were other students from
Yeah.
MSU, and we appreciate your attention.
And I think, I got the impression that they were ordered to be there for at least an hour.
And maybe you're.
Well, that was
too, but
probably
you're
that,
making-
that environmental
Yeah.
class.
Oh, it was.
Sherry Dan's class, yeah. Probably.
Yeah, it was very fun. You just, where'd they go?
Was Sherry's class. I think it's Lissy Gorlink that does that now, so.
And any tips you have, just offer them to Director Wazinski. We keep tweaking our process.
So I'll be honest with you, my focus is sports journalism. So when I walked in, I saw that, I was like, oh, this is a story I can intertwine. That would, I thought that might be what was like on the calendar is like, oh, we're doing watch parties at, some.
No,
You might have to incorporate cricket there then.
but I think,
Let's talk about it.
along with the fact, probably when you go home, Mike will still be there, is I think we're super proud of how many youth sports teams we have. And I don't know the number, but how many soccer teams do we have? And it's a staggering number to me.
I can tell you it's 600 kids just for fall soccer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go. That's
The water is a
So many
sport
things.
too. Water sports
It
are
is.
important,
Water
and we're
is,
gonna put in a new kayak launch, and that'll be an amazing opportunity to kayak down the river, so,
multiple stories.
yes.
Awesome.
Rivers also have large fish in them too. So.
And you can see where everybody has kind of their own area of interest and expertise. Yeah, which is why we love our commission.
I appreciate you guys being
Yes.
so generous and understanding, and Director, I'll be sure to send you an email, probably just tomorrow morning.
That's fine. We'll make it happen.
Look
Okay,
forward to talking to you. Thank you.
thank you.
Now you'll feel bad if you leave, right?
I can see, I'll be honest, I can see on the agenda.
He's like, oh, okay, it's almost over.
Wow,
so
that
I'll
might
stay.
trick you.
Yeah.
That might trick you.
Oh, you haven't been to other matters. So we could-
Yeah.
Okay, anything else for us?
No, I think that I'll be able to, like I said, I'll reach out to you.
Okay,
What was your name again?
My name is Kyle Keegan.
Kyle Egan.
Kyle Keegan, so I'll be sure to send you an email, and I'm sure we'll all be talking in the next week, so I look forward to working with you guys.
well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, agenda item 12, we move on to other matters and commissioners' comments. Director Wazinski, are there any other matters to bring forward?
No,
Today?
thank you.
Okay, commissioners' comments, Commissioner McDonald?
I got my bike in my truck, and I'm gonna get rid of some stress or tension and take a little bike ride.
Please. We'll get you out of here.
Right over to Culver's, probably.
Sounds like a good idea.
Or the credit union and get money and then go home. Anyway. But
Commissioner,
seriously, the interconnectiveness that is just coming into place, Kyle, has just been dynamite. MSU, per a previous commissioner and a previous student, which would be me, MSU is not as accommodating to public outdoor recreation, like linking a bike path in with their property, as they are now. It's just really cool. And you can get on a bike at the dairy store and ride all the way here with what, just very little side path riding, if any.
It's just that Okemos Road, Grand River passing.
Well, it's just 16 or 22 feet to cross it. Yeah, it's really cool, and I think more people than I realize do that all the time. Take the bike trip.
they've been nice additions. Yeah, I agree. Commissioner Lick?
I just want to congratulate you on all the years of service. And this, I had to bring it up one more time because I think it's amazing. And just, we are so lucky to have you. Like,
Oh, thank you.
it is just such a pleasure to serve with you and the commitment that you've had to the township. And I mean, I texted him this morning and he responded right away about fishing, and I don't know, it just wouldn't be the same
because
without
of
you. So I'm
fishing.
so grateful that you
because of
are
it.
here. Yeah, because if it was anything
Thanks
else, you wouldn't
I don't
respond.
sleep anymore. That's all.
Yeah. But I just absolutely adore
you,
serving
man. I
with you,
appreciate it.
so.
Yes.
And I mean, as well as everyone else, but I mean, longest serving, that's incredible.
Feelings like.
And then I want to thank Director Wazinski again. I just really want to make it known that, you know, your like attention to detail on the things that we've asked you to update and address and make it easier for us to be able to serve the community has been incredible. And I know that when you're come into a new role and you're drinking from a fire hose and you're trying to prioritize, you know, it's hard to know all the things that you need to prioritize at once, but you just did a phenomenal job, like listening to us and coming back to us and listening to us again and coming back to us and listening to us again to put stuff together that just makes it so much easier for us when we're in the community answering questions and responding in real time to people who need us because they look to us to do that sometimes. You know, they can call you, but then they also ask us those questions. So it's just really, really helpful. And I think I will be a better commissioner because of the tools you've put in place. I just wanted to say thank you so much. And then, you know, obviously thank you to our chair for running such a great meeting.
That's if people vote for us.
Well, yeah.
We got an election coming up.
Yes. Get out and vote.
Greg's out.
I voted.
Commissioner Stevens? do you-
No, I don't have, I really appreciate you guys recognize, I didn't expect any recognition for anything. Why is this?
That's why you got it.
Why? What's going on? Anyway, because it's our first meeting, I can't figure it out. Anyway, appreciate it. The only thing that I want to go back to that, we've got these huge trees that are falling down in our woods that I think we have access to them and that we could use them for whatever. There's forestry people at MSU that have a mill that they would bring out and show people how to do this kind of stuff. And then utilize the wood for other things. And I think that we're missing some things. And I know that the park folks that are maintenance folks have a big job to, you know, cut all those things up. And usually it's just cutting a path and the trees on both sides, and they're huge trees. And we just, you know, I just look at them in Hillbrook Park and go, God, that's just it's such a waste of beautiful wood, like oak and it just fell down because it's, you know, wetland area and it's huge and, you know. So I don't know if that's everywhere or just Hillbrook Park that I see, or I'm sure it's everywhere.
Oh, we get lots of fun.
Well, I mean, I guess I would defer it to you, but MSU makes a mint on that stuff because that's where their pen and pencil holders come. They have a whole section there at the surplus store. And it's up to you, but maybe you or someone might want to call MSU surplus and.
Well, the guy that does it is in the forestry department.
There you go.
He charges $1 per linear foot. So, which is not a lot of money for, you know, for him to come out. And then he may not even do that if it was a partnership. And he would show, because his mission is to outreach and show people how to do these things or what, you know, what the importance is. So there may be a good partnership there. And, you know, but again, then I've heard a number of reasons why not. You know, if we start using wood, then everybody else is going to want to come in and use the wood and, you know, cut wood out of our properties. We don't need that kind of stuff happening. But with some of these large, beautiful trees, I think it's a waste, you know, and they're worth a lot of money and they're just laying there getting mushroomed now. So,
And then they're not worth anything.
and they're not worth anything. So,
And they're fungi.
I will certainly
One
look
guy would
into
be
that.
there.
I certainly will look into that.
just look at, you know, like if you need a contact or something, I can
probably will.
maybe help.
Excellent, yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Yes, I don't, our next meeting is November 12th at 4:30 at the Service Center. And at that meeting, we'll probably want to talk about, because we will not have a December meeting, what our January date may be. And then we can discuss whether we want to attempt to set up our 2025 meeting schedule, or if we want to wait. We will have a new commission member as of our January meeting, we anticipate, if all the elections go through, Emily Rambo, and see if we want to wait until January to set up the whole year. But we'll have to at least set up January. Is there a date you need that information from us, Courtney, for the
No.
schedule for next year?
48 hours before.
Okay, but not for the year, because I appreciate, because it was outside. It's right outside the hall, you know, which ones we have televised, and I think that's appreciated. There's been some board members
Yeah.
recently that have been curious to watch the meetings, and we had originally 4 scheduled for the year, but got bumped off by other things, a couple of meetings, so there apparently is some interest to having them televised, and we can talk about that at our upcoming meeting.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay. With that, I will adjourn the October 8th meeting at 6:03.
So here's a picture of
Wow.
the cabin I've stayed at my son's state park.
That's beautiful.
Well, it's not beautiful, it fell on the cabin.
Tree fell right on it.
Yeah, but I mean, the cabin is, look
That's
at the stone.
it's a WPA,
Oh, really?
1939 cabin. And I don't know how many hundreds of trees just in,
Thank you.
just in
Send you an email.
Hungry
Yes, sir.
County State Park.
Thanks for coming, have a good evening.
Just
Good
got
luck.
power today.
Gosh.
They have no internet and they have no phone.
That's in Virginia or West Virginia?
No?